Thank you. Now, well over 3 years. I must thank you for your support. Because all this while, like my brother, we started way back. I know all of you. So, and I keep telling my colleagues that there is nothing we do here if it's not put out there. Nobody sees our work. Nobody knows what we are doing. And because of the support you have given to us, the Nigeria Data Protection Commission is seen as one of the best in the whole world as of today. Because every little thing we do, we put out there for people to see, ask questions, make comments, even criticize us. And I keep telling people that I'm not averse to criticism. That makes us get better. Well, I'll start by thanking President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for signing the bill, Nigerian Data Protection Bill, passed by the Ninth Assembly. For so many reasons. In some climes, and as is common with different organizations, either private or public organizations, when you have a new head, they tend to jettison all the meat on ground and start afresh. And so this is not mine. I'm starting my own afresh. We all recall that we started the journey under the former president, late President Muhammadu Buhari. We started with a regulation under leader. We were set up as a bureau to implement the regulation. And that did not give us the teeth to bite. Some people were even making fun of us that, oh, you guys are standing on one leg. You don't have a law, they will soon scrap what all you are doing. But we kept fighting on. We were resolute in our faith that any reasonable government that comes in now understands the power of technology cannot do away with data privacy and protection. We believe so much in that. And fortunately for us, when Mr. President came in, the bill that was passed by an assembly that was not under him, within 2 weeks of coming to power, this was among the very first set of laws that he signed. He signed this law the day he signed his student loan bill, which speaks to his understanding of the technology ecosystem, how it works, and the need to protect all Nigerians and legal residents when it comes to their rights, when it comes to their freedoms, when it comes to their interests, wherever they leave their digital footprint. So we owe him a lot, and we thank him for signing the bill to an act of parliament. The asset now give us an instrument to operate. We're even at the national level. There are a lot of bodies that were applied to join, but because we are using the regulation now, which was a subsidiary law, they didn't accept our applications. We were turned down. For barely 2 months after the bill was signed by Mr. President, all of them started calling us, and I can't remember anyone they were applied to that they didn't accept our application. So we said so to Mr. President, and really signed the law. What we did was, yes, now we have the law. What do we do? We developed our roadmap, which I believe all of us here are aware of the roadmap, with 5 major pillars and about 67 initiatives. So all the things we will see us do today, they are from the roadmap, the pillars, and the initiatives that we have in the roadmap. All these things are measurable. Yes, a few of them intangible, like knowledge that you can't see physically, but most of them are measurable. And we have also devised a means of measuring our performance, looking at annual report of our activities. And we actually produced the last one in 2025. I'm already working on the one for 2026. So to update what we are doing, implementation of the law, the traction that we have gained, where we have challenges, what can we do better, and so on. So I would say we focus mainly on these 5 pillars for us to be able to effectively implement the law. Because it's one thing for you to have the law, it's a completely different thing for you to be able to implement. And more importantly, because of the model that we have adopted in Nigeria, a PPP model. It has really supported attraction and our success stories that in other crimes where they have their laws, they don't have a roadmap of relation, they don't have a model. What we have achieved in the last 3 years, most of them have not achieved. In terms of awareness, in terms of job creation, in terms of capacity building, in terms of international recognition, in terms of a lot of firsts that we achieved in the last 3 years, most of them have not been able to do that. And because of that, a lot of them are now coming to us to say, how are you guys doing it? Can we learn from your experience? Can we exchange ideas? And to last year, we've now developed MOU with a lot of other DPAs across the globe. And we're working closely with a lot of them. And to a large extent, that really supported our work. So in terms of what we have been able to achieve in the last 4 years, but effectively 3 years after the bill was signed by Mr. President, I bring them to the pillars that we have in the roadmap. One is the governance structure. That is, what kind of governance structure do you have for data privacy in Nigeria as a country? And the most important one is the law itself, signed by Mr. President on the 12th of June 2023, which made it 3 years last week when we were celebrating June 12th. And with the law, we have the institution to implement the law. I'm sure you're aware there are a lot of laws that have been passed and signed in Nigeria, but because of the lack of national and the requisite institutional framework to drive the implementation, they've not been able to achieve anything. So in terms of governance structure, we have the law, we have the institution. We're able to drive the law that has been put in place. And what we are now doing is to deepen this in different sectors, in the private sector, in the public sector, and among all the people that are collecting and processing data of Nigerians and legal residents. They are one that they must have their privacy policy, they must have their DPO, they must have a team overseeing their data processing activities. And to a large extent, we're able to achieve some tractions in that area. As of today, in the database, which is a measure of compliance, of structure that they put in place, in terms of registration with us, we have over 40,000 that have registered in that database. And there is no other country in Africa, you can fact check, please. All the things that I'm saying, please fact check. No country in Africa has such a database in terms of registration of data controllers and processors. And in terms of annual report, that is the annual audit, so what we have done is to license data protection compliance organization to register and carry out audit filing on behalf of data controllers. We are doing over 8,000 now. Again, there is no country in Africa that has such a number. That is in terms of the governance structure that we have put in place. And in terms of the actual implementation of this governance structure, as I said, we have a PPP model where we have licensed about 324 data protection compliance organizations, DPCOs, who carry out compliance as a service to data controllers and processors. And that has also led to job creation in several organizations. Also, as a measure of this governance structure, when we started in Nigeria, DPOs, that is Certified Data Protection Officers, which is one of the requirements for compliance, we are now up to 1,000 in Nigeria, in the entire country. But as we speak, we have over 7,000 certified data protection officers. Some have the certificate, some don't have, but they practice as data protection officers. And this is what we see from some of the data controllers and processors of major importance on their feedback through their audit and so on. So as a measure of the governance structure, these are some of the things that we have put in place. And a lot of organizations now, by the time you open their portal, their website, the first thing you see is their privacy statement, cookie management policy, retention policy, their privacy policy. which tells you about what they do, who they are, and the kind of data they collect and share, how they collect, how they share, how they store, and they even share it with a third party or not. These are some of the things that you now see in a lot of organizations. And for the banking, the financial sector, in terms of compliance, they are the highest in Nigeria. When we started, they were doing 49%. As we speak, they are doing over 80%. That's the financial sector. It speaks to two things. One, compliance, governance structure that they put in place. At the same time, they understand the risk associated with non-compliance or not having a proper governance structure for data privacy in the organizations. I moved to the second pillar, which is awareness and capacity building. Also, when we started, the level of awareness was very low. I could remember when we started working on the law. Because in developing the law, we did a co-creation kind of approach where we invited a lot of stakeholders, private sector, and so many of you too were part of the process where at the level of developing the law itself. We discovered that a lot of people then didn't know about data privacy, about the level even at the National Assembly. Some of them were like, yes, you are saying you want to protect my data. I've been giving out my data for ages, and nothing has happened to me. So why do I need your law now? But you will now give practical experiences and the implications of unauthorized access to their data, to their personal data with data controllers and processors. Some of them, and to the glory of God, some of them experienced a bit of issues around their data. For the CC, we had to go to the service provider. Their data, what they saw was a female instead of a male. So that it became clear to, oh, this is what you guys are talking about. So we are creating awareness in a lot of ways. And to a large extent, you have contributed massively to this. We put the stories out there, let people know what you are doing. On our social media handles, we have the largest followership in Africa, if not the whole world. You can find we have donations and so on. Is now, these are the things that we're not using to fund our activities. To the extent that in terms of revenue to government, we have done 8.6 billion within the last 3 years. 8.6 billion, you can put this anywhere. We have now created an economy around data privacy and protection, which is worth over $12 million as we speak. Through the PPP model, through a lot of activities, through employment generation and so on. And the sector has also generated employment to the tune of over 27,000 people that now work in the privacy ecosystem in Nigeria. And if you fact check again, I'm not sure there's any country in Africa that will be able to achieve this within the span of 3 years. Maybe I should stop here for now. I'm not taking it. Yes. And be diligent in the way you carry out your investigation. And it's not everything that you do in terms of investigation that you put out there for people to see. And some of them, we don't just pick information. We can, if we want to, but we don't just pick information from what is happening in public and act. We take them their procedures, steps, the steps that we need to take for investigations. There is no breach reported to us that we have not acted. Either you are government institution or private institution. Sisi Alagbo, she was involved. And she even came out to apologize. She did it. She, her husband, and the third party is even the husband's maybe wife or girlfriend. So it's a family thing. It is willful. So it's not a case. And nobody actually reported to us. But it was in social media everywhere. The one that I ever thought we would ask was INEC. Jim Mike is downstairs now. Emeka Ike is downstairs now for their own park. INEC, they be here twice for their operation crisis. They realize how we've invited him. So no matter who you are, we invite you. And whatever action we're supposed to take, we'll take. And I keep telling my colleagues, do your work. If there's anything, if they will fire, they will fire. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what? Do your work as you are supposed to do it. No matter how big you are, we invite you. I will take the necessary actions. Even look at Meta, the way we handle it. TikTok, Temu, Rebita, Telebank. So you mention anyone that the case came up that were not invited. But we have to be very diligent and not to push out a wrong narrative out there. Until, even when you go to court, until you are proven guilty, you can't pronounce anybody guilty. So that's why we are very meticulous in the way we carry our investigation. And we don't really push out, oh, we are investigating. We've moved beyond that now. Yes, where we started. Any little investigation, oh, we are investigating this. But we have moved beyond that. Where you have made a name, you have left a footprint. It's not about announcing that everything that really matters. Are you really doing the work? And I can say it categorically anywhere, boldly, proudly, that we are doing our work here. Nobody has been reported to us in the area of breaches of that we invite and investigate thoroughly. If we have investigated the lives of NDPC immigrations and so on, you understand what I'm saying? So we are doing our work and we are carrying investigations. And I'm sure the guy that you mentioned, I can't even remember now because there are so many coming every day. The way with digital lending companies, so many. But we have to save it, look at the veracity of the claim, look at the impact on data subjects, how many of them, look at the sensitivity of the case, look at the likely outcome. They will now prioritize and wait time. The one of INEC, which is really sensitive, we are moving towards elections, and it speaks to the credibility of the database. It's of utmost urgency, and we have moved in immediately. You understand? And as I said, Emeka Ike is downstairs now to speak. INEC, they were here last week and they were here this week again. I would say, in terms of investigations, we don't. Also, our own model is different from others. Others, the way they see it, the next thing they issue penalties, they issue fines. No, there's a process. If something is reported to us, what we do is to do our own thorough work at home. We view your ROPA, which is your record of processing activities. We do thorough evaluation. It's just like a driver crossing traffic light. The offense that you have crossed traffic light. By the time road safety people stop you, or via the first, where's your driver license? So we will be asking for C caution, for fire investigation, or your spare tire, your windscreen is cracked or something. The same thing we don't say. If there was a reported breach, we now look beyond that breach. We evaluate your total record of process, starting from your registration with us, starting from your annual audit filing, starting from your appointment of a DPO, privacy policy, organizational measures, technical measures. We do a complete holistic evaluation. That will now guide us on what to do. So at that, the next stage is now invite you. No, we'll now write to you. Please provide ABCD, evidence of ABCD, of having a DPO, of having a privacy policy, of having registered with us. By the time we do this evaluation, if you are registered with us, you have filed your audit report, you have a DPO, you have a privacy policy, you have a record of policy activities, kind of soften the ground for you. Okay, maybe it was an accident. Nobody is perfect. And nobody is infallible. Anything can happen. By the time we now look at the cause and the intention behind the breach. That will not determine what to do. And usually what we do is that if you are saying in terms of measuring your compliance, you are looking at 10 parameters. We've seen that you have complied with 8. That is pass mark, right? You now say, okay, please go and complete the remaining 2. We monitor you for 6 months. Instead of saying paying a fine, we say pay remediation fee. And that is what we have done with almost all of them. The only case that went to court was the case of Meta, where we fined them $32 million. It's about 0.1% of the gross or something. They took us to court. And by the time we went to court, by the time they saw our position and what we presented, they came back and said, please, can we settle out of court? And you know our own here, I keep telling my colleagues, our economy is very fragile. We don't do anything that will drive away investors. I know the number, I can't imagine the number of Nigerians that are making their daily living from social media platforms. Instagram, Facebook, even on WhatsApp. They sell, they buy. I can sit here and order for stuff. You can imagine the number of Nigerians. Now imagine taking Meta out of Nigeria. No people will make noise. Students will not allow you to rest. Market women will not allow you to rest. Do you understand what I'm saying? Students, artisans, all these roadsides. And that's why it's very easy for them to open account with digital lending companies like MoneyPoint, like PalmPay, like OPay, Paga, Fuda, all these funny names. But it's very easy for them to open accounts, transfer their businesses online. Or like you want to open with a Zenith, a Union Bank first, go and bring the head of your grandmother. Your KYC is this. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we need to do something that will stimulate growth. And that's why we are saying our own law is a developmental law, not a law that will stifle innovation. And the general perception is that any new law, regulators, they are coming to stifle innovation. And what is different? We are coming to stimulate growth, sustainable growth in our economy. So that is our approach. We don't issue fine, we issue reputation fee, unless and until you are not able to do what is right, you are not able to cooperate. Not cooperate in giving money. I can sit here to say before God and man, since we started investigating, I have never collected bribe from any organization that we investigated. I will did it. That was the first promise I made. You lose your integrity, you lose your credibility. You are speaking, I say, don't mind him, just give him $10,000. Not me. What am I looking for again? Integrity matters, credibility matters, whatever you are doing. And that's why we're able to stand up anywhere. To say, yes, you are not doing what is right, we'll deal with it. You are a friend today, you are supporting us in running programs and so on. But the moment you cross that line, we come after you and we hit you hard. You understand what I'm saying? That was why we now reduce that talk better. Because since they went to court, we wanted to go full scale. We do full fine, which was about $320 million. By the time we now agreed, let's settle our costs. So what exactly are we looking for? Is it compliance or money, or to embarrass them, or to drive them away from Nigeria? What exactly are we looking for? It's compliance. To protect all of us, to protect all Nigerians that do business on their platforms. Not to harvest their data and treat them anyhow. Compliance, that's the most important thing. Oh, we need to comply. Okay, we'll pay this amount. We'll still do some other things. Data facing programs in Nigeria. It's a win-win for both of us. Yes, we are agreeing to their proposition of selling out of court. Our people are winning. They are complying with the law. What do we need again? That has been our approach. And to a large extent, these are really created a kind of niche for Nigerian Data Protection Commission. That all over the world, they keep asking, how are you guys doing it? Because of our approach. The kind of strategy you put in place, the approach, how you implement, your work with stakeholders is really important. Because we keep saying that all of us are stakeholders in the private ecosystem in Nigeria. You are a data controller of major operators, you are a stakeholder. You are an agent of a bank or a telco, but the road side, you are a stakeholder. POS operator, you are a stakeholder. Media, you are stakeholders. Government, yes, regulator, we are stakeholders. The most important is that we want to do what is right for our people and our country. You know, technology is very dynamic. I keep changing every minute. What we are doing now, there was a time there was no phone in Nigeria. When it came, I remember my first phone was 3310. All we could do was just voice send SMS. No transaction, nothing. Now we are doing full transaction. And with what Elon Musk is trying to do now, you get a level that you may not even need for eventually. A lot of innovations coming. So it's very dynamic, and we will take this when we are drafting the Nigerian television law, that we should be able to regulate them. Because it's part of innovation that we are all asking for. And regulating them should be to put in place measures for them to incorporate privacy in whatever they are doing. And we can use regulations to guide them whatever they are doing. And that our law has empowered us to do that, with original regulations, guidelines, and so on. In some crimes, for you to issue a regulation, you need to go back to Parliament. You can imagine what to issue a regulation. We are not going back to National Assembly. You can know the major criminal it is. So we are able to issue regulations to guide the operations in Nigeria. And more importantly, encourage them to do privacy by design. As I said before, at the initial stage, you are already incorporating privacy. And to ensure that they carry out DPIA, data privacy impact assessments, with their solutions. And the part that keeps me up is the rate at which technologies keep changing. You are doing this today, you don't know what will happen tomorrow. And how many of them are actually ready to comply? Do they even understand your language? That means we still need to do a lot in the area of awareness. A lot of developers, they don't know privacy. Yeah, they can do so much in the area of cybersecurity, but they want to protect what they have developed. How about the privacy part of it? They don't. So that's a major gap, awareness for solution providers, for data subjects, all of us, for data controllers and data processors. How do you now create awareness in all the 774 local government areas in Nigeria for the message to get to over 250 million Nigerians who are data subjects? Is a major challenge. And we can't do this alone. This is what I keep saying. We need partnership, we need collaboration with stakeholders for us to be able to solve this, to face the challenge and surmount it in a way that everybody will not say, okay, with my data, with 10 data control Nigeria, I can go to sleep.
I wanted to have incorporating data protection in
data processing activities that an average Nigerian or legal resident can go to bed, share their data comfortably, and go to sleep. Where you now see compliance as a normal thing to do, not just to satisfy the provisions of the law. You see, there's a norm that, yes, it's part of it. Like you wake up in the morning, you want to brush your teeth, you want to have your bath. It's normal, right? I'm not sure anybody wants to go out of his house without taking out his mouth and taking out the body. Until we're able to see privacy like that, in whatever we do, that is my vision. That is what I want to see in Nigeria. And that speaks to a lot of things. One, trust in the digital economy. Investors in Nigeria, investors outside, they have that trust. Value in whatever you are doing. It increases confidence. Oh, yes, I'm protected in Nigeria. And globally, this is one of the indices that investors look out for. That if we share data with this country, it's system, it's secure. Until we're able to get to that level in Nigeria, we say, okay, all of us are really going to a level that we can share. And that is my vision. That is the kind of legacy I want to leave behind. And to the glory of God, if I live today, I have people in house I can carry on who have already imbibed this kind of culture, a culture of trust and confidence in our system and in Nigeria. mindset and the willingness to do what is right. And on our part, what we have put in place is to work with INEC. We actually have a working group now where we take the message of privacy to political parties. We don't want to invite them directly. When we invite other parties, NDPC is under APC government. There may be a twist in the narrative that, oh, government is using NDPC to do whatever. But if it's with INEC, like bringing all the parties together, all the political parties, these are the things you need to do. A lot of them are collecting data of their party members. What kind of privacy safeguards, what kind of guardrails do they have that they put in place? They don't even know. That's the truth. And that's where, again, awareness comes in. So we're trying to work with INEC to meet with all the political parties. Even if it requires training, we're happy to train them on how to use, how to process personal data up to the lower level the agents and so on. And one thing that we have done, even leaving INEC, is to work with traditional institutions. We now have a royal ambassador who is the chair, the vice chair of Southwest Council of Traditional Rulers. He was here last week. That from the traditional institutions, how do you disseminate information to your subjects? They are the first point of contact with their subjects in all the rural communities. And these are the real voters, the artisans, the market women, the transport unions, and so on. These are the real voters. A lot of people you see in natives in the office, they don't go out to vote. But these guys, Okada riders, organizers by the roadside, Mama Put, you see them carrying their motor cars and they say they will show whoever is happy. How do we now get this message across to these people? And that is why we are working with traditional institutions. And we also gone further to interpret our laws in 3 major languages. Again, check all over the world. If there's any country that their data protection law has been translated into their local language, I'm not sure. Please fact check. In Africa, yes, this is the first. This is the only one, sir. So, people in rural communities, they can actually read our law. If you are Yoruba, you don't understand English, you can read our law in Yoruba. Hausa, you can read our law in Hausa. Igbo, you can read our law in Igbo to understand. And this we are doing through the traditional institutions to also create awareness. So at time political parties are collecting they are processing their data, they know their rights now, data subjects. Our royal ambassador was still here last week. Part of what we discussed is how to deepen privacy in rural community using traditional institutions to be able to do it. In fact, when we did the presentation, we did a lot. 36 obas were represented from different parts of Nigeria. 36 obas that I went to talk to. I went to give a lecture at Intercontinental Hotel, Lagos. 36 obas from different states in the country. And you guys too, you have a lot to do. In helping us disseminate information. There are some of you, there is no day that I don't watch channels, Arise, NTA, and TVC, and AIT. In fact, my children, they know when it's time for news. What they know me for is news and sports. I keep switching from one channel to the other. And there are so many people like that. So every little information you give out, the largest will support what we are doing. Calling data locally. However, some people interpret that for data sovereignty. It's not data sovereignty, it's data localization. That is, your data must remain local. A lot. If you lead to growth in the hosting ecosystem in Nigeria, now we have 27 data centers in Nigeria as we speak. Most of them are not well patronized. They have the volume, they have the capacity, but we don't patronize them. And you can imagine what is going on in the fintech ecosystem in Nigeria. If you notice all of you host locally, that is huge, massive. Job creation, wealth creation, employment, a lot of things that will happen. And it's all about trust And that's why we're also working with data center operators to ensure that they earn that trust through compliance. Before, some of them would say, no, we don't process data, so we can't comply. We ask them, data at rest is processing. Data at rest, yes, we anything can happen to it. We don't put in place agreement. Yes, you are hosting. But if there's any unauthorized access through your platform, it's possible. So it's going to redivert investment in that sector to Nigeria. You will see the level of investment that will come up again in terms of rebuilding the infrastructure, in terms of putting up a lot of security measures to ensure that they earn that trust. And there'll be competition now that the market is huge, it's massive in Nigeria. We are talking about trillions of naira that will now reside in Nigeria, which is massive. Capital flight, it reduces it. And all of us, even the pressure on our foreign exchange, it will reduce it. So you don't need to start paying the foreign exchange for us outside the country. And all we are just asking is that the data center operators must ramp up the level of capacity that they have in terms of human capital development, in terms of security measures they are putting in place, in terms of infrastructure. Because some of them will complain that power alone is a major gap in terms of infrastructure. But if you look at the volume, if you had 10 clients, for instance, you are spending in a month, you are spending 10 million on power, for instance. You spend the same amount to service 100 clients, 10 to 100. So that will drive down the cost, right? You have more customers, the cost will come down. So even the cost of hosting in Nigeria will come down. So it has a lot of things that will affect. It's a very good policy, and you know what? This is part of the collaboration that I mentioned. In that regulation issued by CBN, they refer to the Nigerian Transition. If there was no collaboration, they won't refer to it because they won't even understand what the NDP Act says. And I keep saying, all of us, we are stakeholders. It's only when we work together that we can achieve the kind of. It's a major milestone for us in Nigeria. What is the second question?
What role does data protection play in national security and public trust?
Huge, massive. There is no digital economy without trust. There is no public security without trust. And trust is not about what you say. It's about what you do. In our context, it's about what you do in terms of compliance with the provisions of the law. Your data processor, your data controller, do people really trust you? How do you want to demonstrate that they can trust you? Have complied with what the law says. And not by ticking boxes. It's by doing what is right, incorporating privacy, whatever I'm doing. The kind of measure that I put in place in terms of technical and organizational measures to hand that trust. And without, even in terms of physical security now, we had two sets of officials from the Nigerian Cyber War Institute. Part of what we discussed was that even physical warfare is not about land, air, water, or whatever. It's cyber now. If you do anything cyber, there's no trust there. Nothing will happen. You will make that progress. So it is an integral part of national security. Even the telcos, that when you talk of cyber security in Nigeria or whatever you are doing online, if you don't trust them, people will not use their platform. And that's why compliance is really mandatory for all of them. Banks, most of my transactions I do online now. If I don't trust them, I won't do. And that's why we keep creating awareness. When you go on public Wi-Fi, there are some things you don't even do. You just to browse and leave, but you are not putting your financial transaction. Or you are sending sensitive message about your country. Now, I'm throwing the question to you. Because you are here, you are buying stuff from Amazon. Local. What categories of data can be foreign? Our national security data cannot be foreign for obvious reasons. So what we have is data classification. If you are sending anyone outside Nigeria, you must.
Thank you very much. Just sorry, the provision in the Nigerian Tax Protection Act to amend. What would it be?
Now we can actually say, and more importantly, that all we are talking about in the private law is your digital footprint. That's the most important thing, which you keep living there every day. There's a major area and a lot of other things that we need to update. And we can't say a law that was made 5 years ago, okay, 3 years ago, we are still okay. But there are some laws, like Ghana, their law was 2012. Mauritius, Cote d'Ivoire was 2013. Cape Verde, 2004. The same law. It's still relevant now. But we don't want our own to wait for that long before we keep reviewing. It will be on a regular basis that we do that.
The second question is, where do you see the ecosystem in the next 5 years?
I see growth. I see development. I see awareness. I see more trust. I see more value added to data privacy ecosystem in Nigeria. Value addition to data privacy ecosystem in Nigeria, where level of awareness we have now will have increased, level of compliance will have increased. Seeing it as a must do, not just to do, will have improved. And we now have a culture of privacy in Nigeria as a country, where countries, people, investors will see Nigeria as a country that is ready for digital business, where the rights, the freedom of interest of all Nigerians and legal residents are adequately protected.